So yeah, none one of these make promises. I better keep them. SmackDown Live, October 23rd, 2018. Didn't really care about the venue we were in because they're just going to address it. We had a few matches tonight, overhyping that this Sunday, Long Island, if you want to go, it's not my choice. It's your choice if you will, if you want to waste money on an event that you won't care about. Be my guest. Come to Long Island, waste your money when there's a lot more big matches than just all female that nobody cares about half the roster, the female roster. We had about one female match. It was supposed to be a hype for the Battle Royale, even though there's only one championship in the entire female division. So SmackDown Live has occurred, and over the course of all this bullcrap, we have to understand one thing. I really don't care about the event. I don't care about Evolution. I think that Evolution could be a potentially great pay-per-view where we actually had something that really was important into the show. Well, just talking about the topic, there's a lot of bullcrap we have to discuss, like the fucking ideas over all this. We have just Lita and Trish Stratus brought up as the only female competitors that were alumni. Nikki Bella facing off against Ronda Rousey, even though you might know that Magic gets 50-50 of the match, even though it looks like Ronda Rousey will defend because will redeem her championship over the course of her being one of the hypest and biggest women coming out of this. And I don't care about any other thing. I mean, all the hype was the two championship matches. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair faced off Battle Royale, all females. Even though we have a Battle Royal Rumble for women, I think it's going to continue for a while, and the Raw Women's Championship match and the tag match. That's the biggest thing. 4 things you remember in the match, nothing else that they even preview or tell you about that's going to happen this Sunday. This was the go-home show for both SmackDown and Raw. Thinks Evolution is right. We had no promo setting up the event for Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, except, or at least hype going around it, except championship match, and Edge try to be the moral compass to all this. Like I care. There was actually one alright match, Rey Mysterio versus The Miz. If we started off with Big Show versus Kofi Kingston, over the course of Big Show being the main factor, and he wasn't even, I think he was babyface before, it ended up just beating the shit out of Kofi Kingston, and then we just went to an overhead brawl with the Bar versus the New Day. My take on it, I don't care. The tag team division has been irrelevant. Tag titles into this because Roman Reigns is part of the Shield, and the Shield need to win something. But Dean Ambrose turned heel, and people's like, Dean Ambrose turned heel, that's great. No one cares. I'm talking about this because SmackDown, it's independent brand. It's supposed to be the top brand. Why do you still endorse and show commercials of Monday Night Raw while SmackDown's on broadcast? Don't even show 205 Live. Thanks 205 Live. No one cares about it. It's only shown on the WWE network. Yeah, so that happened. That's pretty much one of the bigger matches. There was Aiden English. Versus Rusev. It couldn't be resolved in a pay-per-view. It's just going to be resolved on SmackDown with, I think the feud's going to continue to go. Thanks Aiden English got blown out in a match against Rusev. You just saw a kick, a few hits. Lana got involved. That was it. Because we're going to include the feud because, to make signals, you think Aiden English trying to rip apart Lana and Rusev because he just wanted. They weren't even succeeding. First of all, they just wanted to make this a common bond because this was getting over with the fans. And thanks to fans are mainly children. The children like any simplistic thing that you put on a T-shirt that's a slick or decent, simple design. Thinks everybody wants simple. It was really just not that impressive. It was really not that impressive. And now it looks like Aiden English is interested in Lana. Thinks Lana is actually one of the most legit, attractive women in the roster that can't wrestle and can't even wrestle to begin with. Yeah, so that's a thing. That's just retarded though. We're just Jesus. Crown Jewel continued, took over mainly most of the stream about my full-on rant why you guys have to be in Saudi Arabia. This doesn't include the women's division. This doesn't involve anything. I don't care about the cultural aspect. It's just going to denounce your mid card. It's going to denounce your women's division. It's trying to denounce all the things you're trying to include more in WWE. You're 3 hours ahead, and it felt like there was only 3 matches on Raw the last week, and now it feels like there was only 3 matches on SmackDown last night. 2 nights ago, already irrelevant. 1 night ago, it's already bad. Yeah, it's just no one cares. Becky Lynch was confronted about assaulting Charlotte. Mm-hmm. About this Becky Lynch feud, I wouldn't mind Becky Lynch turning heel. This is the best thing for Becky Lynch. She's been irrelevant since the first time she was drafted to SmackDown. She won the women's title. She was getting somewhere, and then they made her drop the title to Naomi. Naomi, I think. Naomi, I usually get my facts right because I consistently at least watch the highlights or the show, depending on my mood. But I really don't care. Becky Lynch is that forgettable. And it's more forgettable that there's been like about 6 or 5 Universal Champions and nobody remembers the first champion. Even though it was Finn Balor. The second was Kevin Owens, thanks the title was vacant. Then Goldberg beat Kevin Owens in Fastlane. It was a forgettable run for Kevin Owens, unless you knew the friendship he had with Goldberg, Chris Jericho. They feuded for the U.S. title. Then Goldberg dropped the title for a long ass stint with goddamn Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar held it for nearly as much as time as CM Punk did with the WWE Championship. Nearly Universal Championship already has gotten through his longest run, and Brock Lesnar has under 10 championship defenses. Yeah, over 300 days of holding the championship. Then Roman Reigns held it. I think he was supposed to have his first title defense, and now he's diagnosed with leukemia and he can't even compete. So yeah, that can tell you a brief historic history. We haven't even had a memorable match unless you count that fatal 4-way last year for the Universal Championship. People thought it was insane. I did not care. Thinks nobody got elevated, no one got that much screen time, or anybody got in a popular feud at that time. Nobody had a popular feud, unless the most popular thing you remember back in 2017 was the Hardy Bros coming back at WrestleMania. So if you want to see that, I don't give a shit. I don't really care at this point. The New Day have been irrelevant. I don't like the women's division. SmackDown was just We had a second. This was a match. This was the second time the Usos would be fighting the WWE champion. The WWE champion loses twice in a tag match with his own contending opponent. And this was supposed to build up lack of chemistry and a build up of egos clashing. I don't care. Things both AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan are corny. Corny. They have poor acting skills. They don't show off that much of a characteristic in the WWE. I have my gripes about Daniel Bryan. I do like seeing AJ Styles in the ring. If you guys don't see him in New Japan, or at least an Impact, an actual relevant U.S. wrestling promotion that at least you can watch on television back when it was on Spike TV, you have at least heard of AJ Styles from some hardcore fans, or at least some WWE fans, or a few younger fans. They can tell you stuff about AJ Styles that you haven't even heard of. And he looks like a fucking thick ass white mom with that hair. Fucking faggot. It was, yeah, they lost. The Usos beat them. There's a few good moves. They were synchronizing for a moment until blah, blah, blah. They got pinfalled. God damn it. It was just bad. And then their backstage segment was even awkward because it was supposed to be Daniel Bryan saying that all this stuff was AJ's fault, and he intentionally tried to attack Daniel Bryan to sabotage their tag match, and it costed them doing the too sweet me thing. And AJ Styles taking that like an insult, and he's saying, "Brother, too sweet me, brother," like it was a Southern thing, like the club was some kind of Southern Confederate club, because he's from Georgia, and everybody in Georgia says the N word out of nowhere. Like if Booker T was there, Booker T shouldn't be there. Booker T should not be there. So yeah, I already told you. Aiden English lost to Rusev, got blown out and shit. He got taught with the acolyte. There was a kick. That was about it. Best match so far was Rey Mysterio returning for a second singles competition. He came back for the qualifiers for the World Cup. He won that match, and now he comes up facing off against The Miz, beating him. It was an all right match. Baseball slide. We saw all this stuff. A good setup for the 619. That's the most positive thing I have to say about the show. It was a good. Somehow it's a breath. It's a breath of fresh to see Rey Mysterio actually compete. Even though my time watching wrestling, it's above. He actually looks well built. He doesn't have a dad bod anyway. I think that's the reason why he even had the heavyweight championship. Because it was like 2003 to 2005, the guy was cruiserweight, or at least could have won the Intercontinental Championship. Rey Mysterio did do that though. He did win the cruiserweight and Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, that's some history for you. He didn't win the heavyweight championship twice. Once against Jack Swagger, another one against Kurt Angle and Randy Orton. It was an all right match. Miz was doing anything he can. Miz botched. He can barely hit him. I don't know how you can fail hitting an undersized opponent. You can just lift him. You can toss Rey Mysterio. You could have did harder big boots instead of like one where Rey Mysterio, Miz was lazily trying to get his leg up so he can at least try a big boot. The biggest move Miz did was a DDT, but he always does the DDT and people celebrate. So it ended with a 619 plus a springboard splash. Evolution Battle Royal was supposed to be hooked up. It was supposed to be a tag match, but it got interrupted so we can show that all women. There was Carmella doing a dance break shit, and no one cared. It just ended up for all women fighting each other, like that was a thing to hype up a battle royale. There was no warning. There seems to be no individual goal. No women have their own individual goals in this matter. Nobody wanted to change the female division. Nobody wants this in their own light. Nobody wants to take this over. Thanks, there's no actual leader. I thought that would be Charlotte or somebody else. Nobody has a big personality unless you call Charlotte Flair, even though Charlotte Flair is Ric Flair's daughter, and that's literally what she uses. Thanks. That's pretty much the most relevant thing about her. Nothing else. Don't give me bullcrap about what she did in NXT. I get it already. I get it. I heard all this bullcrap before. I heard all this crap. And it doesn't make no difference. People thought Bayley would be the thing, but Bayley is just like how other heels pronounce her. She's a fan. She's built like a fan. She looks like a fan. She acts like a fan. Her literal gimmick is hugging the elderly and children. She's a Make-A-Wish Foundation mascot, and that's about it. Everybody's given a participation trophy, and that's what the women's division succumbed to. It came to actually achieving individual goals and giving women an opportunity, except it's all feminist drive, and thanks WWE seems to be LGBT, social justice warrior, trying to include everybody to everything. The women's division, the cruiserweight division, England wrestling, more indie wrestling for NXT. It doesn't go anywhere. The WWE lack of ratings. They went from 10 million. They started doing good in the ratings back from the late 80s to 2000s to lacking right now. Thanks they want to include everybody. The main event was supposed to be a crown jewel match. I think it ended with Randy Orton beating Jeff Hardy off the same finish that if you watch the Royal Rumble 2008, it was my favorite match, but it wasn't my favorite finish in the show. It was John Cena winning the Royal Rumble until he won the second one in 2013. That kind of pissed me off. It ended with a twist of fate reversed into an RKO. And I think that's like one of the slickest moves you can do with the RKO. It's unpredictable. It's nearly the exact same move, except Randy Orton lifts his hand up. Even though that looks like such a blind spot. Yeah, it was a succumbable match, right? Sometimes you even forget Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton are feuding, even though you don't understand why they're feuding. Even though it seemed think Jeff Hardy cost the U.S. title match with Shinsuke Nakamura with Jeff Hardy, and they start beating the shit out of each other. Thinks Randy Orton kept doing this for most of September. And there was this fucked up thing back in their Hell in a Cell match that he took his earlobe shit, got it with a goddamn screwdriver, and kept wrapping that shit around his ear, and that was like the most brutalest thing I seen. My fucking god. If it was WWE back in the 2000s, I keep referencing this because it was actually one of the funner moments where you can get away with even making an autistic grown man beat Triple H in a one-on-one match actually look more believable than Rey Mysterio beating The Miz and Kofi Kingston losing the Big Show. That's the most brutal thing. Thanks. The only people that can actually have a lot of blood loss in WWE is Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar. So yeah, Randy Orton won that match. We had hype for the Battle Royal, hype for the Crown Jewel event. Fuck more on the Crown Jewel event. I don't care. Thanks. The biggest thing is this World Cup. You don't win anything. They're gonna give you a fake belt like they did Braun Strowman for the Greatest Royal Rumble. They are, and I hate it. I hate this crap. What is this participation crap? Where's King of the Ring? I love tournaments. You don't have tournaments in something that actually shows competition. You already lose me in that. What's wrong with tournaments? I don't care about tournaments. I mean, I love tournaments, bro. This is the thing with the WWE. They don't think anything ahead of time. And whenever you see them go into big matches, or at least something that's going to be involving most of the roster that mixes undercard with big card, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with that. And most of the time, I've been seeing WWE have potential to make a good show and actually have some stuff, some wrestlers that the fans could relate to and really want to see. We saw Dave Bautista come back on SmackDown 1000, and after what he said, I'll actually want to see Batista versus Triple H. I would love to see that. Somebody commented on that I know. He's a good friend of mine, and he had some good shit to say. He also had a YouTube channel. I don't think he's that active, so I don't think I can plug him. Cool dude. Thanks, Mike. There's a lot of stuff in Crown Jewel that I'm really not that concerned. The biggest thing is the vacant Universal Championship, and even that won't catch my eye. The Crown Jewel has a tournament that is supposed to be a World Cup, but it includes mainly people that are United States. So what makes it a World Cup? What makes it a World Cup? What's the biggest thing WWE is trying to produce here? Daniel Bryan will be facing off against AJ Styles, and I don't think Saudi Arabian fans will want to see that unless Jinder Mahal's in the card. I know that Jinder Mahal's not related to them, but it's at least diverse. It at least shows why you should call it a World Cup, or at least call it Crown Jewel. Why is it called Crown Jewel? What's wrong with King of the Ring? What's wrong with King of the Ring? Nothing's wrong with King of the Ring. There was anything wrong with King of the Ring. King of the Ring hasn't been done in 2015, and the last person who won it isn't even working for the company anymore. He's not working for the company. The person who won it was Neville. It was fucking Neville. Wade Barrett won it, I think, 2014 or 13 when they had King of the Ring. And now that's all gone. And the credibility of this bullcrap has been completely forgettable. It's been forgettable. This crown, this entire month of WWE, you will not remember except that Roman Reigns is diagnosed with leukemia yet again. Yet again. I understand personal crap like that should not be addressed. And it's cool if Roman Reigns doesn't want to get that out there that much. It's totally cool. No one's going to stop Roman Reigns. I mean, bro, I wouldn't mind if WWE didn't want to talk about most of these mental health issues, even though sports are cracking down and the concussions basis, medical history, mental health history. I think that's a good idea, but it shouldn't be prone to the public unless it's really that severe and it's costing people around them to suffer injuries, psychological problems. That stuff, you've got to be talking about. That stuff is tough. If I were them, I wouldn't want to do that because I don't like to doing personal crap like that. That would get me fired. Roman Reigns suffered leukemia. The title is vacant. That's why. That's the biggest thing coming into the year. Brock Lesnar might win the championship. I don't know. Thanks, Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar seem evenly matched, in my opinion. But they're still going to make the show go on, and I'm not going to care. I'm not going to care. Rusev might be facing Aiden English in Crown Jewel, and I wouldn't give a shit. I really wouldn't give a shit. There's nothing big in the Crown Jewel event. There's nothing that important. Don't give me any takeover information. 2016 to 17, I was in the takeover because there's actual memorable dudes in takeover. I didn't mind the vaudevillains. I didn't mind Finn Balor. Samoa Joe could have stayed a permanent fit in NXT. Thanks, he's in that mentality of indie wrestling, and he fits the bill. Thinks he's not like a bigger star. And there's no Wild and Out character except he wants to fuck AJ Styles' mom. And then they cut out that feud when they were done, and now he's with Daniel Bryan. Miss TV should be scrapped. Thanks, nobody cares about it. Nobody should care about R-Truth TV, even though it wasn't even shown. But Carmella still does the dance breaks. Just saying, no one cares at this point. No one cares. Somebody watch SmackDown and Raw. It just makes me feel like they could have done something better. And each time I see these other wrestling videos that do crap like this, try to pretend that bringing out any local or indie star from Australia, England, Japan, it doesn't make a show better. You forget one thing about WWE. It's World Wrestling Entertainment. They're a global enterprise. They're a billion-dollar company. All because they got money doesn't mean they're going to get your favorite local guy that does a perfect 619 that doesn't cut it for WWE. That's not good enough for a child to watch. He's still not going to play as that dude as a video game. He's not going to pick up that dude as an action figure. That's literally it. That's literally it. That's what I'm getting from all of this. Because you fans don't seem satisfied. We had CM Punk. He held the WWE title for 300 days, and now he's gone. And that was 2013 when he last held it. And he was gone at that time in 2014. So what's your point of bringing this stuff up? And you guys sympathize with CM Punk. Why do you sympathize with him? You should be upset. And you guys still chant his name. You chant what? And you still chant, you can do it. You still got it. You deserve it. Why? What's with the same thing? Why is the fan so robotic? There's no attitude in the show. There's nothing to spark the show, except it sounds like this is a special ed fucking show. Everybody gets a reward. Everybody gets this bullshit. And I hate it, man. I hate it, man. There used to be guys that you used to vouch for back when Matt Hardy was going for the U.S. title. At least Jeff Hardy was an actual underdog. The dude went through substance abuse, did some dumb crap, and always failed to get that brass ring. That's something you can get behind. Because you used to go through those struggles if you were a grown man or a teenager trying to accomplish something, but stuff like that holds you back. That stuff is relatable. And you related with Jeff Hardy. While he has a good personality and shit like that, dumb stuff like that, he doesn't succeed as much as the bigger stars. We have Dave Bautista, an actual animal, a man that built like an actual animal, and he doesn't even want to compete for the company. They to keep pushing men that don't even look like an actual professional wrestler. Daniel Bryan looks like a vegan wrestler that still works at Ring of Honor to this day. Really, what's you're missing in WWE? It's an actual character. You're missing actual characteristics to what made the Attitude Era fun. It is 2018, and we still have women wearing snapbacks. We still have grown men just fighting each other and fuss about instead of actual personal reasons. Nobody actually wants to get in factions with each other and push themselves to the next level, except the female division, and they don't plug each other in. They don't try to push female indie wrestlers out. They don't do stuff like that because WWE, frankly, in my opinion, doesn't even give a fuck about the female competition. In my opinion, they don't care. They don't care about this. They don't care about Becky Lynch. They don't care about Charlotte Flair. They don't care about Sasha Banks and Bayley anymore. They really scrapped their own rivalry for a tag match. Fucking tag match. No one cares about their battle royal. No one cares. The only thing they're doing, and still they're gonna pay. They're still gonna pay Trish Stratus and Lita more, thanks to actual big stars and people actually remembers, and their actual inspirations. What makes Sasha Banks and Bayley inspirational? What characters that you can bring out except Bayley's a fan of wrestling? She likes to hug people. What can you bring from Sasha Banks if she calls herself the boss and she's related to Snoop Dogg? And that's what gave her a plug in WWE, even though she can barely even do a Hurricane or Rana. What can you give to Charlotte Flair except she's related to Ric Flair and she does a few moves that's good? And all these overhyped smarks that do all this bullcrap really don't watch wrestling. There's WCPW, that's from What Culture, and literally What Culture, that's a nice name for you PC cunts. Really, What Culture? Really, What Culture? SmackDown got a 5 out of 10. A fucking 4. 4. It's 4. It was a mediocre show. There was actually one good match in the card. Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy was watchable, but it wasn't anything else to succumb to a really mediocre show. SmackDown 1000 was all right. I give it a 5 because at least it had Batista. It had some overhyping crap in it. It had an all right match for Rey Mysterio. It had some stuff that actually shown some good clips of SmackDown. It was SmackDown 1000, and even that couldn't even get an above average scale. It was a mediocre show. Or you can succumb to just getting all this money and publicity was mediocrity. And WWE is succeeding now financially because of mediocrity and the way they're just plugging up all this crap for breast cancer awareness and all this crap. And shocked that Roman Reigns is diagnosed with leukemia in October. And people are thinking that they'll cancel the crown. Mediocre show. It's a mediocre show. I wouldn't want to rewatch this. No rewatchability when it comes to this year's SmackDown. There's no rewatchability. Thank you for watching, because I wouldn't want to watch this again.